the whole Bronny situation, like everyone on the world knows why he's a Los Angeles Laker. Like he's a Los Angeles Laker because his dad is a Los Angeles Laker and his dad is the greatest player or second greatest player. I don't like really care to have that debate, but one of the top two greatest players in NBA history, and the Lakers with a 55 overall draft pick, 55th overall draft pick, we're always going to take Bronny James. So I think that situation.
Okay. Let me stop you. Let me stop you a little bit.
Okay.
Let's talk about exactly who is in the right here, though, because of course everybody is aware that LeBron James is one of the top players ever in the history of the game, and everybody's aware that Bronny James is very talented. But would he have been on the Lakers otherwise? Probably not. Probably not up there along with the in JJ Redick's inner circle, everything like that. Was it fair or foul for LeBron James to go up to Stephen A. Smith and act like he was going to get some sort of preferential treatment, or did Stephen A. Smith step out of line? And I think from a sports media perspective, we might be a little biased because obviously covering the Big 12 as a sideline reporter and you cover baseball, we're both in sports media and we understand kind of where Stephen A. Smith is coming from. But at the same time, it's like LeBron's like coming at him like not as a player, but as a parent. So I feel like that's where like the catch is when we're like assessing, was this even necessary? Because this completely just blew up. Like there was no need for any of this. I feel like this is just the constant circle of negative attention as well around Bronny, which is like, you could be a Nepo baby, but it always doesn't have to be about that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, the lines are definitely blurred on this because it feels like nobody has ever played to 40 the way LeBron James is playing, and no NBA players ever played with his son. So the lines were like a little bit blurred. I think that when talking about like Bronny, it's just interesting because LeBron is definitely hearing some of it. Bronny's definitely hearing some of it. So the fact, I think it's a little bit foul on LeBron James' part to kind of like step into like what Stephen A. Smith was saying on First Take today. He has LeBron's number. He could have done it in private or whatever, and he decided to do it in more public atmosphere where you're probably gonna get like everyone has a cell phone, everyone can record. You probably know that's gonna go. You're not thinking of it, but that's probably gonna hit social media. There's just a better way to do it. I think that it's just interesting because there's no other scenario where you can really point to where this is like even like remotely similar. And even just when discussing Bronny James, there's a line to it when doing it on ESPN because some players are watching, people are hearing it. So it's just in my opinion, it's just interesting. I don't think it's super foul on LeBron James's part, but he could have just done it in a more private manner.
My thing is, I definitely would never be in the business of telling people like how to raise their kids or anything like that. But I just think that it really only brought negative attention to Bronny. And we started another conversation about why he's on the Lakers. And we started another conversation about why he doesn't deserve to be where he's at. Whenever it's like, well, Bronny, maybe he doesn't deserve to be in the NBA right now, but he was playing very well in the G League. And he's an extremely talented player who also had like a major heart issue when he was in college. And he was highly recruited. The guy is established, and he's very good. Yet we're still talking about this when Stephen A., in my opinion, I think is right in the sense that it probably should have been done in private. I get, Stephen A.'s initial thing where he's talking about it on air is obviously not private. So this whole thing is going to be public the rest of the way. Well, that's just, maybe you don't want that, right? Like maybe you want to you take the high road in a sense and try to bring it back to the private area and text him and be like, hey, look, we got to cut that out, man to man, as a father, don't do that kind of thing. But it also, who's surprised that he was going to talk about it today on First Take? If you're going to talk to him the night before, a weekday, on a Friday, he's going to talk about it the next day on his show. I'm not really surprised about that. And I don't think that him talking about it on his show was foul either. I just think LeBron probably had better intentions. And I think if it was just done privately, it probably would have got across a lot better.
Yep. I completely agree. There's not much more that I have on that really. I just think it's interesting because it could have just been handled a little bit better from LeBron's perspective, just walking up to Stephen A. Smith and kind of calling him out. You could have there's just other ways to do it, but I can kind of understand where he's coming from too. It's his son, and you just hear so much from so many different people about this and this and that. So Bronny is making a name for himself, and he's trying to establish himself in the G League, and I completely respect that. So I can see where LeBron is kind of is it really necessary to keep on piling on, but just could have been maybe handled a little bit better.